Hello, good evening, and welcome to the New Year Eve's edition of News at 10. I'm Stephen Ante. We're coming to you live from the News Hub here at Desawe Kanda in Accra. You can follow our live stream on Facebook and on 3news.com. Let's start with the major news highlights of the day. President Akufo-Addo has re-echoed concerns about the country's persistent reliance on foreign aid for development. He said Ghana has come far and must strive to be independent. President Akufo-Addo was addressing participants at the 37th annual Kantanka Technology Exhibition in Accra. And the Accra Psychiatric Hospital is to embark on a public fundraising drive next year to rehabilitate its special ward, also known as forensic ward. The facility, built in 1904, is in a bad state. Peter Kwao Adato reports that the ward, built for 50 patients, is currently accommodating 140. At least 3 people reportedly died on the spot when a vehicle they were traveling in burst its tires and crashed at Bakpa Ajanzi on the Sogakope Adidome Road. Several others sustained various degrees of injuries and are on admission at the Adidome Government Hospital, the Komboni Hospital, Sogakope, St. Anthony's Hospital at Joje, and the Volta Regional Hospital in Ho. On the lack of functional ambulances in health facilities in the Dafiama Busie Isa district of the Upper West region has compelled healthcare givers to rely on motorbikes to transport patients. This is a setback to quality healthcare delivery as pregnant women deliver on the way to referral centers or end up with complications. Those are our major news highlights. Remember, you can follow our live stream on Facebook and on 3news.com. Up next is the big one. Welcome back. Now, it has become almost a ritual for people to usher in the new year with resolutions that they hope to follow or achieve within the next 12 months. But key question, how relevant are these resolutions, and do they make any impact at all on the lives of those who make them? We shall be looking at this in details. But before then, let's watch some few resolutions for 2018.
Yeah, my resolution for next year, I'm praying that currently next year I'll finish my tertiary education, and I'm a teacher by profession. I'll be posted to the secondary level.
People say New Year's resolutions, but come the end of January, people don't even remember what they said they were going to do. So it's not really a resolution, because a resolution is something that you've made up your mind. Come what may, you remember it. That's why the Bible says that make the vision plain. So when you forget it, how do you achieve it?
They need to be more focused. They need to stay objective, be disciplined, and then set feasible goals that will help them to be able to do what they plan to do.
Your dream is too big to achieve. The only problem is unforeseen circumstances. Now you plan that you want to buy a plane. It's doable. Don't you think so?
This year, mine is to probably get married, and then
one of my resolutions is also to be able to work in a very reputable company, and then make a lot of money.
Right, everything is doable. Let's speak to a psychologist. On the telephone lines now is Dr. Emmanuel Asampong, who is a senior lecturer at the School of Public Health, University of Ghana, joining us now. Good evening, Doc. We're grateful for your time. Thank you very much for joining us. So we want to find out from you how important New Year resolutions are, and then how do they impact on the individuals who are making them? Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Well,
I hope you heard me, sir.
If I understand you, yes. Let me say that. I mean, generally, I mean, in life, I mean, we all. I mean, we from time to time we should be able to, as it were, you know, set some plans for ourselves. Except that it's become more like a ritual for people to do so. If you like, with more seriousness at the end of the year, because then that's when they think that, yes, it's more like some yardstick that, I mean, people can go by. Let me say that, yes, in as much as it is important for people to set resolutions, it's equally important that these resolutions are adhered to strictly. Unfortunately, most people tend to set resolutions that are not very realistic. And so at the end of the day, you want to ask if indeed what people set for themselves have been achieved. Going forward, I think that certain resolutions, we should all be guided by, you know, the acronym SMART. SMART being, I mean, the S being very specific resolutions, measurable one, achievable, also very realistic, and also within some time frame. Talking about the time frame, I think it is important that we tend to have short-term, medium-term, to long-term, you know, so that at the end of the day, if you are setting something for yourself and you realize that, well, this is not something that I'm able to achieve, let's say, within 6 months, then you know where exactly to, as it were, put it. I guess if we were doing it that way, and also not to have so many, because within a year, one is able to do, not too much. I mean, so if we are able to, as it were, set very few ones, and then once you are able to achieve that, it gives you confidence to subsequently be able to adhere to what you'll be able to set for yourself. I'm sure if we are to do it that way, many of us would be able to realize the resolutions that we set for ourselves.
Interesting. So let me ask you, I don't know whether certain resolutions require some form of psychological work or whatever. I mean, I know that physically you need to have a pen and you put down what you want to achieve, but psychologically, what should be one's focus in creating a New Year's resolution?
Well, then you are looking at instances where, as it were, you make up your mind. And, I mean, if it is something that is known to just you, then whether you achieve it or not, I mean, there isn't anybody who is going to mark you that, well, at the end of it all, this is what you are able to achieve. And so very often, if you really want to go by that, then you want other people to get to know what it is that you set for yourself. On the other hand, you could also put it to writing so that, I mean, once you see it, you know that, well, this is what you are working towards. Otherwise, if it remains in your head, then, you become your own judge over resolutions that you have set for yourself. And so it goes a long way to help if you make it known to people that, well, this is what I intend to do, and so that from time to time people can prompt you or possibly ask you what it is that you are doing as far as those resolutions. And
you did mention earlier that if you take on too many resolutions in a year, you might not be able to achieve them. But should anyone be concerned at all if he or she is not able to achieve the goals that they set for themselves as New Year resolutions?
Well, I guess if you are not able to achieve, what you set for yourself, it kind of like it weakens your confidence. That is, and let's liken it to putting up a building. We know that, you do not put up a building in a year, but then once you're able to buy a land, you may not even have stones on it, but the mere fact that you bought a land gives you that confidence. You're able to work towards, getting some stones, getting some sand. You go and the stones are on it, you have sand on it, then you are like, wow. So, I've been able to do this. So, you see, at short intervals, depending on what you have been able to do, it gives you that extra confidence to be able to, move on. And that's the reason why I keep saying that, there is no point in having so many resolutions, because then if you are not able to achieve all of them, that confidence that you require to be able to, as it were, move on subsequent years, becomes defective. And so it's important that you set, very realistic and achievable ones. If it is 3, 4, and you are able to realize them, subsequently, what you set for yourselves, because of what you've done previously, it gives you that confidence to go, according to what you set for yourself.
And what we've noticed, basically, is that sometimes along the line, people tend to forget about the resolutions they have made. Would you say there is a way one can keep track of what they say and be focused on them without losing them?
Right. So, it takes me back to what I mentioned, you putting it to writing. Pasting it somewhere that you possibly can see, every day. And then from time to time, you want to look at what you have done and see what went wrong. That way you are able to put in some corrective measures so that if there is something that you didn't do right, then you always can correct it. I guess that is one of the ways by which, people can seriously, go by the resolutions that they set for themselves. Because at the end of the day, you're looking at, bettering your life. And if you want to do so, then it's equally good that you go strictly by what you yourself have set for yourself, because you know that it's going to, as it were, move you from one level of your life to the next higher level.
Right. Dr. Sampong, we're grateful for your time. Thank you very much. Dr. Emmanuel Sampong is a senior lecturer at the School of Public Health, University of Ghana. I'm Stephen Enti, and you're watching News at 10. We're live from the studios at Desawe Kanda in Accra, and you can follow us on facebook.com/news on TV3, as well as 3news.com. We have more news for you. Welcome back. Now, President Akufo Addo has re-echoed concerns about the country's persistent reliance on foreign aid for development. He said Ghana has come far and must strive to be independent. President Akufo Addo was addressing participants at the 37th Annual Kantanka Technology Exhibition here in Accra.
People from all walks of life, including politicians and traditional leaders, converged at the premises of the Apostle Safo School of Arts and Sciences at Awoshi to grace this year's Kantanka Technology Exhibition. The exhibition provided a platform for the manufacturer to show to the general public the new items he has manufactured and convince them to patronize made in Ghana goods. Key among products exhibited included the luxurious Kantanka Ordinaire V6, a limousine-like motorcycle. Other products are saloon cars, solar panel built to produce 1,200 megawatts of power, voice-controlled electric fans and bulbs, engine blocks, gesture-controlled television sets, among other products. Founder and leader of the Crystal Formation, Apostle Dr. Engineer Kojo Safo Kantanka, who attributed his innovation to meditation, is concerned about Ghanaians' lack of taste for locally produced goods. He attributed most electronic products manufactured by the developed countries were imitations from him. President Akufo Addo expressed worry about the country's dependence on aid and asked for a paradigm shift.
We have to be self-sufficient. We have to stand on our own feet. And we're going to be able to do that when we are masters of technology.
He lauded Apostle Kantanke's strive to be the star of Africa. Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Frimpong Boateng, said a policy to streamline activities of the local technology is being developed and it is before cabinet.
And the Accra Psychiatric Hospital is to embark on a public fundraising drive next year to rehabilitate its special ward, also known as the forensic ward. The facility, built in 1904, is in a very bad state. Peter Adato reports that the ward, built for 50 patients, is currently accommodating 140.
Despite the passage of the Mental Health Act, Act 846, to improve mental health care, challenges continue unabated. The Accra Psychiatric Hospital, which was built in 1904 and commissioned in 1906, is yet to receive any major rehabilitation. The lifespan, according to the British colonial government, was supposed to be about 50 years. That notwithstanding, 100 years on, individual interventions have held parts of the facility with an estimated capacity of 800 patients. The special or forensic ward is the worst affected. The ward, which is also a center for court referrals, is in a complete state of disrepair. The washrooms, bedrooms and entire infrastructure were in bad state. Water continues to run through an opening in one of the bathrooms. Even though the officials say they do not know the source of the water, a close look suggested it was coming from an overhead tank on top of the bathroom. Roofs and ceilings have suffered severe damages. Aside this is congestion. The ward, built for 50 patients, is currently holding over 140 patients. Patients are compelled to sleep in the open at the mercy of the weather. Hospital authorities say they can no longer wait on the state for solutions.
And that is to fit out what we call our forensic ward. The ward is dilapidated, where the patients sleep is not good enough. And so we want to again embark on the drive that we went on this year to get some money to fit out the ward. And so once again, we will call upon you when the time is right, and we hope that, just as you've promised, you come to our aid, and Corporate Ghana will also come to our aid.
Director of the hospital, Dr. Nana Addo, called on the public to assess the hospital.
And the East Dakota Pond Development Trust is cautioning the public to desist from buying lands from a group of individuals purporting to be members of the trust. At a news conference, the chairman of the trust, Nana Addo Fred Afo, assured of reclaiming or illegally acquired lands.
The East Dakota Pond Development Trust was established in April 2, 2002 to regulate development processes of the La community. The trust is constituted by members from 3 settler entities such as the La Traditional Council, Mati Abonase, and the Leshi Quarter of La. 8 members nominated to steer affairs of the trust were replaced in March 2017 because they were alleged to have indiscriminately sold 2 lands without rendering account. The Lands Division Court 7 on July 31, 2017 ruled against the former trustees, cautioning them to stop parading themselves as members of the trust. But this has been flouted. Chairman of the East Dakota Pond Development Trust, Nana Addo Fred Afo, who set the record straight, threatened to compel the pseudo-trustees to account for every penny not accounted for. Lands illegally acquired and developed will be reclaimed.
And the lack of functional ambulances in health facilities in the Diafiama Busie Isa district of the Upper West region has compelled healthcare givers to rely on motorbikes to transport patients. This is a setback to quality healthcare delivery as pregnant women give birth on the way to referral centers or end up with complications. A community emergency transport system is, however, saying the situation as health facilities await ambulances.
Hundreds of kilometers of untarred and dusty roads. Commercial vehicles are therefore few. The motor king is the savior. Health facilities are the most affected. Many are without functional transport systems.
It has been very difficult because since we started in the whole district, we haven't had an ambulance, and then we depend on individual means by which the patient will take to go. So when we refer a woman, when we are about to refer a woman or a patient, we already tell them that we are about to go because it is beyond our level. So they have to prepare for the means.
Many pregnant women have delayed in getting to the nearest health facility due to this. Many necessary tests during pregnancy are not done because transport to the regional capital to do this is unavailable.
When we tell them that they should go, they will tell us that they don't have the means, and for that matter, they can't go. We don't know how we are going to go about it because we don't have the necessary items here to do the test for them.
Saving pregnant women is a Herculean task. Even the motor king is not easy to come by.
She said, for the meantime, if they could help them with motor king, so that in case there is such a problem, they can use that one to manage to the nearest clinic.
Healthcare givers are at their wit's end in finding a solution.
You can imagine where a woman is pregnant, is in labor, and she's referred, and the road is bad. She has no access to any comfortable vehicle, no ambulance services in the district, and she will have to be transported either on a tricycle or on a motorbike, a normal motorbike. It is a very bad situation.
Together with the communities, strategies to overcome the transport challenge is being thought through. But even what is available as transport has challenges. Despite this, the motor king or Nyaba lorry has and remains supportive in providing pregnant women with transport during delivery.
The assembly is doing its part. They have promised to donate some tricycles that will be kept in some of the health facilities in the absence of ambulance, so that in the case of emergencies, we can rely on these tricycles. But until when the roads have improved, we have an ambulance, we have a district hospital, we have enough health staff, and in the right mix, the situation will continue to be challenging.
The district health team is not resting on ensuring that every woman who gets pregnant delivers safely, but says a local and central government's intervention is key.
If the district could afford an ambulance for each sub-district, because we have 5 sub-districts in this district, so if the assembly could do that, I think it would have been easier for us. Even if it was not like each sub-district to get an ambulance, but at least 1 or 2 within. If you call, at least they can get here faster, then transportation to the next level will be very smooth.
In road infrastructure, central government should take it up. Because how much does the district assemblies get to support local projects? And of course, road construction, it takes a lot of money.
Yes.
Right, so that's how we wrap up with News at 10. But before we go tonight, I'd like us to get to know all the great backroom staff who have been making it possible for the news to come on. My producer, Godfrey Tanam, Richard Lamte is director. Albert Mensah is Switch CCTU. And Emmanuel Hovo is with visuals. That was the visual editor. And Bernard Hanzi is a sound technician. Daniel Latte. Amando is on camera. And Ben Mensah, Lightning, Felix Azaglo is camera. And Francis Beidou is IT, and Nana Prempe graphics. So, gentlemen, it's good to see you all here. I know we've had such a great year, and many times people don't get to see you, and people don't get to recognize the great work you do. You do for us. So, should we give you some couple of seconds to say something to all the people who don't know you?
My name is Daniel Latte. Daniel Aite Latte.
Daniel Aite Latte.
Amando. I'm a camera operator.
Yeah. I know. You can mess me up if I mess up. And then
you appear on the TV.
Thank you very much. And God protect. Yeah.
Emmanuel Hobo, and I'm a visual editor, visual news editor.
You make sure that all the packages you see on TV, fantastic. And Angie is running. Angie is responsible for putting the powder on my face. She doesn't want to come on TV. And yes, Angie.
Yeah, I'm Nana Prempe.
All the nice things we see here.
All these people are under me. I am the boss, man, you know.
Happy New Year to all of you.
Happy New Year. We're going to have a great 2018 year. Right.